Welcome back, everybody. It's another Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. We got a fun but informative show tonight. It's all about cheaters tonight, y'all. So what I want you to do first and foremost is to share and invite this with your friends and family. When you come in, let me know that you're here on the replay. When you come in, make sure you share and invite. What I want you to do now is give me about 30 seconds. I am going to check and make sure that we are propagating across Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. So stand by, give me 30 seconds. I'll be back.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship Gumbo, ayy.
All right. I want y'all to really, I know, see, this is the thing. I normally don't beg, but I'm going to beg you. Please bring your girlfriends, your man, whoever you in a relationship, whether you're single, bring them all in here. Share. We're going to have some information. We're going to go under the hood of cheaters tonight, y'all. So y'all know that, the engineer in me that can't just do the surface. So I brought my Avengers here tonight to make sure that we get all the details in. So if you are new here tonight, normally what I do, because this is a live podcast that we're going to extract the audio, I'll pause for 3 seconds. I'll intro the podcast, and then we'll go through the whole podcast. And at the end, I'll pause for another 3 seconds, and then we'll end the show. And if there's any residual questions at the end, we can, entertain them then. So please tonight, feel free to engage, ask your questions, your comments, and we will add them in if they're appropriate with the topics that we're covering. But we're going all the way in tonight, guys. So stand by. We're going to start the podcast portion. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, we are talking about why do people cheat? It's the question that has been around since probably the beginning of time, but it still goes on to this day. And we need to look at maybe the why. Maybe you'll get an answer tonight, maybe you won't, but you'll at least get some context. And tonight, I have two special guests, and we are going to really take a deep dive into this. So I want them to intro themselves and let us know why they thought it was important to be here tonight to talk about this. And without further ado, my first guest, I'm gonna put both of them up on the screen for those that are viewing. So stand by 1 second, and then we're going to let them intro themselves. So hold on 1 second here. All right, there they are. So first we have LA Lex. Welcome to the show once again. Let us know a little bit about you and why you're here tonight.
Hey guys, I'm LA Lex. Well, of course I'm here because you invited me here, and you needed that female intuition to let you know, because I only speak the truth. And of course, tonight's subject is about cheating, and I'm a guru in that. So why not?
See, we didn't know you got a PhD in it, so we didn't know that. And we also have Mr. Tony Massey. You guys have seen him before. You know him. You love him. He's a friend to the show, and we're definitely developing some things in the future to kind of give you guys more bang for your buck on this relationship dating topic. So he's here once again. And sir, introduce yourself. I know you got a book as well, so
yeah.
Get that intro in, and we're gonna get it popping.
Well, good evening. My name is Tony Massey. You can usually find me either cooking or talking about relationships. I did write 2 books on this subject. One was the unsolicited dating advice from an unqualified source, which is what he's holding up right now. And then I wrote another one called a man's guide to successful affair. A man's guide to an successful affair. So talking about cheating, it's all about having affairs and what makes an affair successful. But it is I'm not teaching how to cheat. I'm basically exposing how cheating just doesn't work. There's no such thing as a successful marriage. But I'm really excited about the conversation. I'm really excited about having a young lady here to keep us on.
Right. So, guys, real quick for those that are on the video side, let me know if you can hear Tony clearly. I have one report that he sounds slightly muffled.
Oh.
So I want to make sure that y'all can hear him before we go. I'm gonna give it like 2 seconds. I just want people to let me know if you can hear Tony fine. But we're gonna go.
Right.
Yeah, I'm waiting for at least one person to say something. Can he? Tasha says no.
Cannot hear me?
Cannot hear you. They can hear you, but it sounds a little like it's not crispy clear.
Okay.
Yeah, she said he's muffled. Stand by, people that are on the audio. We just want to make sure that he's loud and clear for you guys.
How's that? Is that a little better?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Trying to wear my headphones, but it's cool.
Yeah, everybody give me the thumbs up. He should sound crystal clear now.
All right.
I can tell the difference.
Any of this.
So somebody said it sounds like you eating donuts.
No.
So it should be better now, guys. I can distinctly hear the difference. Yeah, they saying way better. Okay, so we good to go. So, guys, cheating. So the first thing I wanted to, there's a couple of topics. I know we're going to get on some tangents tonight. But the first thing we want to talk about, and people that are, I see you guys rolling in. I see y'all rolling in. So welcome, guys. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you engage tonight. The show is about us giving you context, but we also want to hear your thoughts and your questions and all of that. So feel free. So let's get into it. We're not even going to wait any longer. So the first thing is cheating. Mm-hmm. This is something that have caused a lot of us a lot of pain. Whether you are the cheater or you're the person being cheated on, the end results are never really positive. No matter what, how good you think you may or may not be, it doesn't end well. So my first question is, first we have to talk about, what do people even consider cheating these days? So Lexi, what's considered cheating to you if you are in a relationship?
Intimacy.
Okay.
Intimacy, not just sexual, but confiding in the opposite sex, or depending on your status, confiding in them into where it's to the point where you tell them everything except for y'all don't go to that next step, whereas you should be having or conversing with your partner. So any intimacy is definitely cheating, whether it's sexual or non-sexual.
Gotcha. So Tony, I want you to both piggyback off of her and tell me what's your idea of what cheating is.
I actually agree with her 100%. I'll take it one step further though. I believe cheating is any behavior you engage in that you can't be honest about with your partner. So whether it's a phone conversation, texting, sliding in the DMs, whatever, if a lie is being told about your behavior and it involves someone else, then you're cheating. You don't have to have sex. You don't have to kiss. You don't have to do any of that stuff. The lying part is the cheating, in my opinion, not necessarily the stuff that you do with the other person. So I agree with LAX completely.
So I agree with both of you guys, but I'm gonna add a little tangent to that. So as we know, there's people out here that have different things that they're willing to accept and not accept. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that the definition of what the cheating is should be something that's discussed early on, or should it be something that you're just supposed to know?
I feel like your partner should know you before y'all get into that next step as being in a relationship. So you would know what ticks me off or what's disrespectful. or considered like borderline, because there's some people that say, okay, it's borderline. I'm not against my mate having female friends, and I'm not even against them having a conversation or conversing to them about our relationship to a certain extent, because I personally have most of my best friends are male guys. But I also respect their relationship with their wives. I'm also friends with their wives. So I think it just depends on, before you go to that next step in being in a relationship, make it clear and communicate on what you will allow and what you will not allow, So I feel like you should know. Whereas if you jumping in and you just wrong all the time, clearly you all don't understand each other. So definitely communication first.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Massey, I know you got something to say.
Yeah, I do. There's only two things I know: that which I've been taught and that which I've experienced. Outside of that, I don't personally feel that I should be held accountable for any knowledge that has not been shared with me or that I have not gained through experience. Mm-hmm. So, in dating, you got to give me the rules. And speaking from a male's point of view, most of us, we like rules. You see a couple of guys, they're about to start a pickup game. They're about to start playing spades or dominoes. The first thing they discuss is, what are the rules? We playing joker, ace, deuce. So is it make it, take it, whatever. Because we want to know, what are our boundaries? What can we do and what are we not allowed to do? And what we will do is work within that boundary. Like when I was a young man, I could go from one stop sign to a certain light pole on my street. Well, we had a blast in that boundary, you know what I mean? Knowing that we couldn't go outside. And so, because cheating is very different things to different people, I think going based on conventional wisdom or even conventional definitions of cheating is a dangerous undertaking, because then you get yourself in a situation where you're like, well, I don't consider this cheating, so I'm going to engage in this behavior. Where your partner says, no, that's cheating to me. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. Well, to me, that should have been made very clear at the onset of the relationship. And when I say made clear, I don't mean you should know better. I mean, I verbalized, look, this is what I believe is cheating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick pause because these comments are rolling. I want to make sure that I don't miss people. Tasha said earlier that Bill Clinton did not cheat. And Octavia said he sure didn't. See, that's what I'm talking about. People have different, because like, let's take this for an example, right? There's some people out there that'll say, well, as long as they didn't have intercourse.
Right.
And then they're like, well, it's not cheating until they go this far. Or so it's you would think that it's an understood, unspoken rule that everybody should have the same rules. But in practice, it's so not. It's so not. And it's crazy. Like, it's some people out here that'll say, well, they can go to the movies with whoever they want to, as long as they don't fall in love. Or, it's like and if you do not establish that early, then what ends up happening is that person just lackadaisically goes about doing this stuff because this is what they're used to, or maybe somebody else told them it was cool in another relationship, and you looking at them like, he's supposed to know this by now. Like, what the hell is wrong with him?
I sometimes feel like they know it's just a test. Let me test her to see if she'll allow this, and let me see how far I can go with it. So.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm glad there's a woman on the show, and I'm also glad that we're not close enough for her to reach out and touch me. Because I'm gonna say this: I think that the rules sometimes can be modified depending on who they apply to. I think that there are some men who can get away with certain things because of their stature, because of their looks, because of their financial positioning. And so I think, I've always said, cheating is a rich man's game. If you want to cheat, you gotta be able to afford to cheat. And I think there's a lot of men out there who they can't afford to cheat. They just don't have the disposable income to cheat. Cheating requires you to be able to hide money. And if you don't have a lot of it, you can't hide it. So I think sometimes the rules get like Bill Clinton, what we talked about. Bill Clinton, when you're the president of the free world, are you really going to be held to the same standard as the guy who, works a 9 to 5, making $80,000 a year? I don't think so. I think certain men get, some leeway that other men don't.
Lexi, your thoughts?
The higher the income, the modification is it's a range. It's open.
Right.
Is that because I need to understand? So because I'm the leader of the free world, I could do some things. I did not have sex with this woman.
Well, look. So let's put some context into that, right? Let's put some context into that real quick. I wouldn't say that the man who has a lot of money gets over more or less. I would say the person that has money ends up with women that accept it for some reason. They stay, right? So you could say he's wrong, but if they stay for an extra 10 years because they're used to a certain lifestyle, it happens. And I'm not saying it's just men to women, it's women to, it's some sugar mamas out here too. And the dudes is like, whatever, as long as I don't see it, I'm good. And they stay. So it's not saying that, yes, if you have money, you can cheat and it's cool. It's ironically, those rich people end up, now that the relationships be highly dysfunctional, but they stay.
It's the benefit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting that.
So if I know I can get and do anything I want, my husband is a millionaire and he's taking care of me, I can do pretty much whatever I want. I'm going to accept the behavior because I don't want to lose the benefit of maid service and high-end things and, $10,000 sheets and, just whatever that makes me comfortable or, put me on a certain status. So I think, and I totally agree with you, Derek. I agree, but for me, it's just to know that you continue to cheat. It's my self-respect. I'm not going to say, I've been in relationships where, okay, you cheated. All right, let's talk about it. It happens again, it's going to be really bad, and a lot of people stay for certain reasons, benefits, again, kids, some women just don't know. I mean, I've been with him all my life. I don't know how I'm going to survive without him. So it's a leap of fear. And I'm just speaking on a woman's point of view. Yeah. So that leap of fear of, oh my God, if I leave him, I'm just going to be lost. But we got to be stronger than that, women. Yeah. And men. Cheating is abuse. Cheating is a form of abuse.
Agreed.
Spin City on Facebook says women stay with the broke ones too. That's facts.
Yeah, they do. But again, it can be a benefit. It can be, I'm going to stay with him because I don't want to be by myself, or to fill a void, or because I feel like I love him. And, and usually, sometimes I'll be like, girl, he cheating on you and he broke.
And see, and that's what I meant. I'm not suggesting that because you have money, cheating is no longer wrong. I'm saying that providing a comfortable lifestyle does also provide you with some leeway when it comes to what is acceptable and what is not. Because I agree. I don't understand the concept of being cheated on by someone who can't help you, make your life a little easier. So it's like, so we're struggling and you're cheating. That's silly to me. That doesn't make sense.
That up.
Yeah.
That up.
So let's get a couple comments in here. I know if I miss your comment, I apologize, but it's a lot of them. Ashton says we like cheating is when you're with another person and the other party not knowing, especially sexually. I think that crosses the lines. Women. Tasha says, not me. I don't play with folks cheating on me. Mark says, I disagree. Cheating isn't based on status. He also says, no, you don't need money to cheat. I was a broke college student and cheated all the time.
College student.
All right, you know?
Wait, who was you? She was the professors?
Daisy Love says everyone has a breaking point. And Stephen Wilkes says people cheat because they're not happy. We're gonna dig into that in a minute. And how deep that rabbit hole goes. So let's talk about this real quick. And I hate doing this because I'm so not this guy. Cardi B. I'm so not this guy. But it just happened. I think so. I'ma really like jump on and off of this. But what are your thoughts, Lexi?
I mean, look, you gonna do what you do, right? Until you become a wife or a husband. Okay. We all know where Cardi come from. We all know who he is. He publicly humiliated her the first time, right? And you don't know, I mean, she just had a baby. She, at the height of her career, it was just a lot going on. She probably was suffering from postpartum. It's just a lot going on during that time. But she, pretty much told him, look, clearly, if it happens again, we're done. So it happened again. And breaking news on Tuesday, Cardi B files for a divorce after 3 years. I'm not, I really don't, I don't like talking on people's relationship because again, we're not that fly on the wall. We're not in their relationship, but I did see a lot of people say, well, she saw it and, she once a cheater is always a cheater. And, I've just been seeing a lot of comments, but clearly she made it known that, okay, he did it the first time. All right. He did it again. I'm out. People can talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z. We all know that Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, but we hear something happened in their relationship. I still want to know who the Becky is. But anyway, we all know that. But she made a whole album of pretty much you do it again and there's a price to pay. They're not being like you have some people, a lot of celebrities, rappers, i.e. Fabulous, constantly cheats on his wife. Oh, not even his wife. I'm sorry, his girlfriend, the kids. Constantly cheats, and she just posing in pictures and tats and everything. So it's like, come on, sis, But again, we don't know what's going on in their relationship. We don't know. So they are, a public figure, and we're gonna see it. Cardi. She's known as I don't want to say ratchet because she is ratchet, but she's known as like one of the, she's not afraid to voice her sexuality and tap into it. So we know she was a stripper. We know she talked about sex and all of this and that. But again, when that wig come off and that makeup come off, she's a wife at home and she's a mother to her kids, and she shut it down and say, hey, I'm out. So.
Mr. Massey?
So there's two things that I take umbrage with. One, Offset showed who he was early on in the relationship. You talked about that, LAX, and I don't believe once a cheat, always a cheat. I don't believe that that's true, but I do believe without consequence, there is no motivation for change. And obviously, whatever consequences she put in place wasn't enough for him to decide not to cheat. I do applaud her for standing her ground and saying, look, I'm done. I'm out, even with the public embarrassment and shame that comes along with it. My issue, though, is and I'm sure this wasn't on purpose by no means, but the proximity to the song. And here, and I get that it's art. I get that and we have to, as consumers, as an audience, we have to separate the art from the person. But my issue with the song, and I think we all know what song I'm talking about, is this idea that her sexual prowess or her abilities somehow can change a man's focus point, can make him forget about certain things. Like she has the one line that says, I don't cook or I don't clean, but I tell you, I got this ring. And I think what this happening so close to the song coming out illustrates is a point that I firmly believe in. cheating is a choice. It's something that the person who cheats does, and there's nothing that you can do, whether you're a man or a woman, that can stop someone from cheating if they want to. And so it doesn't matter if you got the WAP or not. If somebody wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat. And so I'm not by no means celebrating her the tragedy of this relationship ending, because anytime a relationship ends, it's like a death. And I pray that they're able to take this, especially with having, family and everything like that. But it does illustrate that being, an acrobat in the bedroom is not going to stop a man from cheating if that's what he wants to do. So that's my only issue with the whole Cardi B thing, is that she has shown her audience that everything she said in that song, it's not as true as she made it out to be in the song. But again, it's just art. I get that.
I mean, I know a lot of women that can't cook or don't clean, but they've been married for several years. They husbands, I want to say, has been faithful and they look happy. So again, it's just art. She's just
right. And I agree. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Whether you cook or clean or, you do whatever in the bedroom, if a man wants to cheat, he's going to cheat.
He's gonna cheat.
So, being a great cook, keeping a clean house, being that superwoman, that sometimes we've tried to force women into that box as if to say that this is how you keep a man. It's not, because there are women out here that don't cook, they don't clean, like you said, and their man is beyond faithful. There are women out there that cook every day, 3 meals a day. They clean, every day. They're doing their wifely duties, but yet these men are still cheating. So it isn't the behavior of the person who's being cheated on that causes the cheating. It's the cheater who just made the decision that, hey, I one is not enough for me.
Right. So we have. Go ahead, Lexi. You got it.
Do you all think that cheating is a disease for one that's habitual, like a habitual cheater? He just can't be faithful. Is it addictive or addiction or?
So we gonna that's the next bullet point here. Let me address a couple of these topics. Mark talks about what about the woman who cheats. We're gonna talk about that in a second too. Wow, these things are rolling. Latasha says women never cheat. What are you talking about? Mark also says, real talk, if a man cheats and gets caught, he just changed the game the next time, which sometimes can be the players. So let's do this. This next I guess topic would be under the umbrella of what motivates a cheater to cheat. I want to spend a little bit of time on this because I think as society and culture that we live in, a lot of times we may say there's only like maybe 1 or 2 reasons why, when it's really like, it's probably as many reasons as there are personalities out here. But a lot of times people will relegate it to they just wanted to have sex, or they cheated because they wasn't happy at home, so they went ahead and got what they didn't have. But without context, that's really broad. And so what I want to do is I want to try to get under the hood a little bit of how it feels to be inside of that space, whether you are the cheater or the person that's getting cheated on, because I don't want this show, the purpose of this show is to not just talk about the surface things, because I think we don't get to a healing place and an understanding place if we just say, well, damn these cheaters, they just, they were born this way and they're always going to be this way. And at the end of the day, we also have to look at the fact that we do not condone cheating, but it happens to human beings that are our brothers, sisters, family members, trauma, mental health problems, whatever. It's an infinite amount of reasons why someone would shift left and right. And so I want to try to talk about that a little bit. So I want to start off. I'll start and then I'll kind of let you guys piggyback on it. And again, I'm going to make the disclaimer. We are just talking about some of the motivations of the cheater. without condoning the cheating. So we are not giving excuses. We are giving context. I say that for a reason, because I already know that there's at least 2 of you guys. I don't know your names, but y'all ready to come for me. And I'm going to set the record straight. We don't condone it. I'm going to say it again. We are just providing context and the psychology behind why someone would make these decisions. Okay. So Black Logan, we're talking about all of the above: relationship cheating and marriage adultery. It all kind of falls under the, well, granted, marriage is the next level, but it's still the dishonesty and all of it still falls under the same umbrella. So I'm going to start this off by saying, like I said before, a lot of people liken cheating to sex and only sex. And like we said at the top of the show, just as many ways as you can say these are things that I consider to be cheating, whether it's texting, being on the phone, going on a lunch date, all of these different things, there's also just as many reasons why someone would decide to even do that. And so I'm going to give you a couple of examples and then we can expound on it. For an example, there could be someone in a relationship who isn't great at communicating, right? And they're in a relationship where they hide how they feel. And when the other person that they're in an argument with in a relationship says, we're arguing and you're not saying this hurt me, you keep it in. So maybe your deficit may be communication. And so when you decide to take that path to say, I'm going to cheat, you may be cheating because you want to have somebody to talk to. Mm-hmm. And I think people automatically assume that you're talking to that person because you want to have sex only. And sometimes the psychology behind it is a lot of cheating, to me, a lot of times it can be malicious, but by and large, it's broken behavior. It's a broken human being doing broken things. And when you're in a relationship with a broken person who may not know how to address some of those deficits that they have, sometimes that stuff that they see on the outside is like a dopamine high. And they need the communication. They need the sex. They need the and I want Tony to address. I'm a pass the baton to Tony on this one point. I want him to talk about. Sometimes when we talk about love languages, sometimes when we don't have the discussion about what those things are, we're looking for the affirmation, but we never told you that was something that we needed. Right. So I want you to talk about that a little bit, Tony, because I know you talk about love languages sometimes and talk about just some of the things that people kind of seek out and it may sometimes even be subconsciously.
Sure. I firmly believe that so many of us, and I say us because I'll throw myself in there because I have cheated before. So many of us just don't know how to be in a relationship. We don't know what it means. We don't know what the intricacies and all of the nuances of a relationship exist or consist of. Sometimes because we never saw it. We never saw what a good relationship looked like. Sometimes it's just because we don't understand what it means to be with someone. I got married really young and I really didn't understand how I was changing from dating someone to marrying someone and how this is two very different things. They're not even the same. One is a path to the other, but once you get to marriage or even a long-term relationship, it doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. It's a different animal. And if you're not able to communicate your needs, your desires, then yeah, you will be tempted to go out and get those needs met. When I was younger, I used to liken relationships to eating, to a meal. If I'm not getting fed at home, then I'm going to go looking for food. As I've gotten older, I still feel that way on some level, but I do put the onus on the person who's not getting fed to not go look for another meal, but to verbalize, this is what I need from you. This is what I need in order to feel love. It's very difficult when you're loving someone who has a different love language than you. And I love the concept of love languages because, having traveled overseas, If you can't speak the language, the native language of the country you're in, then it's very difficult to get the things that you need. But here's what I found. They're more willing to talk to you if you're willing to try to speak their language. But if you're that person who is demanding that someone speaks English, I remember being in Paris and this couple from America was like, somebody in here has to speak English. Mm-hmm. There's no way that no one in here speaks English. And it was mind-blowing to me because, look, you're not in an English-speaking country. The only people that speak English here are the people that came from the same country you did. You know what I mean? But they had that mindset. You must speak my language in order for us to communicate. And I think in relationships, we do the same thing. If my love language is words of affirmation, then you must affirm me in order for me to feel love. But here's the thing. There's more than one way to express love. There's gifts, there's physical touch, there's quality time. There's more than one way. But if I'm willing to try to speak your language, even though I may never be fluent in it, then that's the bridge. But here's where I deviate. I'm one of those people that believe that there's only two reasons to cheat. Desire, I want to, and opportunity, I can. And I believe that if you have the desire to cheat, you will create the opportunity. You'll find someone to cheat with. If you have the opportunity to cheat, meaning you're highly sought after, people really like you, you're that person who's constantly getting people in your DMs and all that other stuff, you have to keep your desire in check. I think it's unrealistic for us to go into a relationship thinking this is the last person that I will ever be interested in. That's crazy. Marriage does not cause blindness. It doesn't, but you still owe it to your partner to keep those feelings in check or to be mature enough to actually talk about it. Look, I'm going to be honest. There's this lady I met. I haven't done anything, but I'm very attracted to her. And hearing that, you're like, whoa, who would do that? That's crazy. That's the mature approach to dealing with that desire, dealing with that, that desire to explore other options. But if you cross that bridge and you lie about it, and you start deceiving and start being deceptive, then you did that because you wanted to. Doesn't matter if you have, to me, this is Anthony Massey, the comments made by Tony Massey are not reflective of the Relationship Gumbo. So once you do that, then you've made a choice. And that choice is to be deceptive and lie to your partner. And with that choice, in my opinion, there should be consequences despite the underlying reasons or, excuses. Because to me, that's what they are. We all have a reason to cheat. You don't do it though,
Yeah, and so there's two comments that kind of stuck out to me and that I want to address as a piggyback to my disclaimer. Black Logan on Periscope says, does suffering justify cheating? We are not justifying anything here. What we're doing is we are talking about how human behavior works. Right. And sometimes human behavior makes you do some things that's wrong. And so we're just kind of giving you a kind of a bird's eye view on why some people may behave a certain way, but in no way are we saying it's justified in doing. Because at the end of the day, once you make the decision to do it, no matter what it is, you could say, I never knew what relationships were and my parents was this. And so I cheated on my girlfriend because of this. And you could say, well, he wanted to cheat. And I could say, well, maybe he had some issues in his past relationships. So we're just giving you context behind the behavior, but the behavior is going to always be wrong. Right. The second one is Sherry Nelson from Facebook said, did she know that you weren't getting fed? And so here the context we're giving is no, we're saying that the person is either A, does not know how to communicate or isn't choosing not to communicate. And so when you don't know and they go seek it, then the breakdown in the communication now becomes the issue. And that issue may be driven by the cheater. The cheater is the one that's not sharing. Maybe both of you are not sharing. And the context that I want to also give to that is sometimes people, men and women, because we don't want to just say only men cheat. And then I want Lexi to chime in next too. I'm gonna get a comment, then I'm gonna come to Lexi after this. But I also want to say this too. Sometimes when we're in relationships, we do not have a manual on it. And sometimes when we end up having a lot of dysfunction in relationships and we have arguments and we hurt each other and we say these things, and a lot of times people, when we get hurt, we don't confront the reason why we get hurt. We retreat.
Right.
We retreat and then we avoid.
Right.
We avoid the confrontation because we don't want to feel like that again. And so if you're consistently feeling like that over and over again, you're not leaving a relationship because there's some other stuff in there that you just need to have and you love. You become this ducking, dodging person that keeps that hurt inside. Outside looks real sexy now because you are choosing not to verbalize it because you don't feel like it's a safe place to speak. Right. And sometimes that makes the stuff on the outside look peaceful. And I always talk about these people, men and women, who are in a supposedly a loving relationship, but they got to sit in the car for an hour before they come in the house from the driveway. Because they know when they go in the house, they lose the peace of mind. And that's just, and I know you guys know people like this. You got to get your mind right before you go in the house because you know it's going to be something. You don't even know what it is. Men and women do it. I've heard it from both. That it's like, oh man, when I go in there, and when you feel like that, all you need to hear from the outside is, you look nice in that suit. How are you today? Good morning. You having a good day? You look a little sad. Something as small as that make you feel like $1 million. And when you don't communicate to your partner to resolve the hurt, male and female, then you sit on it. And I'm not saying this is why everyone cheats. I'm saying this is just a tiny example of how human behavior works. When we hide our pain and we sit on it, we're always going to look for a way to release it. Sometimes people release it with alcohol. Sometimes people release it with other people. And that's how humans work. I'm going to get a couple of comments and then I want you to comment, Lexi. Wow. I feel like I'm reading a novel. Tiema Perry from
Taima.
If you like to sleep with Taima, I'm sorry. If you like to sleep with multiple people, hey, give your partner the same opportunity and y'all could be swingers together. Hey, you know what? There's people out here that love that. And if that's who you are, find your that's what I'm saying. Everybody's definition of, it's people out here that's married, that's swingers. And then that swinger couple may have a condition where you can only sleep with this person. And if you sleep with somebody outside of this person, then you're a cheater. And it's like, But they define it. I'm not a judge, but that's why I'm saying if you don't tell somebody, to Tony's point, if you don't say, hey, I know you like texting, but if you text somebody, then that's on the list. You I know you got some friends, but hey, and if you don't do that, and I'm not saying the other person is just like, yeah, so if we don't talk about it, then it's free game. You got to be honest with being a grown man, a grown woman, but there's those gray areas that you just kind of assume that the other person knows that it's a trigger for you. Because you may have your cheating list of things that can be considered as cheating may not even be based on cheating. It may be on something that you dealt with somebody else. Mm-hmm. It's a trigger for you. So if I hit that button and I'm like, oh, I didn't know if I wore blue shoes, that means what? Oh, your last two exes used to wear blue shoes and they both cheated. Right? It's crazy. Yeah. But we're human, right? Mm-hmm. Let me retract, not the word crazy. It sometimes doesn't make sense because the human behavior in our traumas and with psyches, we hold on to that stuff. We don't release it. And then we bring it in and we go crazy because you've been on the phone for an extra 10 minutes and you're like, well, maybe he's cheating. That's not from me. That's from somebody else.
Yep.
So, whoa. Hold on. I want to make sure I don't miss too many of them. Michelle Ford, in some cases, the person that cheats has gone to their partner and tried to communicate, but it wasn't received. I'm assuming that's what you meant. And that's true. Sometimes our partners shoot us down when we get to a point of sharing stuff with them. And once you get shot down a couple times, guess what you're gonna do? Keep it in, because it's no longer a safe place to share. Tasha says, "Is it cheating if you granted permission but then pull the permission back?" That's a whole nother can of words right there. Spence City says,
one person, you cheat with 5.
cognitive dissonance is real. A person who doesn't set emotional boundaries makes it easier for the cheater. Very true. Alicia says that double standard ain't standard for a lot of dudes. Yeah. And we know this just in just being here on this planet. Dudes can do stuff, and then the woman does the same thing, and it's like the whole world ended.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna tell you,
be on fire.
And I am not ashamed to say it. For me, cheating for a man and cheating for a woman is 2 totally different things. Send your comments to Tony Master Cooks.
All right, Lexi, the floor is yours. Any commentary on?
I just don't know where to begin. I don't know where to even jump in.
Just let it go.
I always speak 9 times out of 10 when I give people advice or tell them something. I speak from experience, right? So I don't just be throwing textbook stuff out. I feel like leave. Won't you just leave? If you continue to cheat, and I told you the first time, if it's happen again, it's a problem. I'm not going to keep taking you back. Won't you just leave if you feel that you have to continue to cheat? I knew someone that they would say, I cheated on my girlfriends, but I never cheated on my wife. What does that mean? You were loyal and faithful to your wife, but you can't be loyal and faithful to your girlfriend or your partner, or I'm confused. So I'm loyal. I'm loyal. I'm not a cheater. I never cheated. I will leave you. If you see me out with someone, you already know I'm done. I will tell you, hey, I'm done. It's a wrap. And I go about my way. I don't believe in we breaking up and we living in the same house. Because again, I will hear people say, some of my female friends, oh, we still live together, but we're not together. So you don't get that urge late at night after you've been with your girlfriends and threw a couple back, and you like, well, I can't call Tony. I don't have to call Tony because I got my, my ex upstairs and I can crawl in his bed, So I don't. Cheating is cheating. I don't condone it. I don't feel like there's any excuse. Leave me. I had heard someone say that, it can be a disease. It can be a habit. They dislike multiple women or men. And I think you should see someone for that. But if I knew that prior to marrying you or getting in a relationship with you, I would ask you or tell you, you need to better yourself before you try to commit to me and be in a relationship, because I don't condone cheating. And clearly you have a problem. So I'm going to just let you do you, and you come to me if I'm available. I'm sorry. There's no way to wrap it up, put it in a bow. A woman, if you cheat, you would cheat. If a man sleep with a woman and a woman do the same thing, I don't think men can. I think men and women are equal when it comes to cheating. But for some reason we get hazed. We're a hoe because we done slept with this person, or because they say, I guess women cheat because of emotional attachment or something, and men just look at the physical. Shoot, I look at men too all the time. I mean, I remember once me and my ex, we were at a beach and I had on my little nice blockers, and there's some beautiful women out here. Okay, women are beautiful, whatever shape, size, girl, whatever. And this lady was with her husband, a beautiful family. I mean, she was beautiful. He was very beautiful. So my ex says to me, that lady gonna come over here and kick your ass for looking at her husband. I said, well, damn, he fine. I'm with you, but I ain't blind. Shit, that's a compliment. I ain't go over there and touch, and he looked at women. We were comfortable enough to see, all right, you looking at this woman, you see me checking out this man, but I knew not to cross the line. I knew that that's not my man. And I also don't gawk, that's respect. That's that lady's husband. But she couldn't see me with my shades on. So, I mean, hey, look at me. If my husband is fine as he look, that's a compliment. But cheating is cheating.
But look, Lexi, some people say when you look at somebody else, that's cheating.
No, it's not.
Context. That's your definition.
Well, that's my definition.
Right.
Women, you gotta be crazy if you think your husbands are just looking at you. You gotta be crazy if you think Lex is only looking at you. He might have. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm gonna ask you this because I agree. I said this before. I don't think that being in a relationship causes blindness, but I do think that there should be some context to it. So, if you're in a relationship with someone and you're in a conversation with that person and they break their gaze to look at someone else, you know what I mean? Is that the same thing as just enjoying?
Lex will be like, well, damn, baby, let me see what you're looking at. Because I want to see you. That's Lex. That's just me. I want to see what you're looking at. But if you just like stopping our conversation and you need to go over here and go get a drink from the bar because that's where they are, then that's a sign of disrespect. Because if you need to go to the bar and get a drink with her, we going together. But you also have to have confidence in yourself and trust in your relationship. So not only have communication, but you also need trust. So if your husband has a best friend and she's a female, it's trust. But if if your partner come home and tell you, well, Keisha, she called to tell me about this guy that she was with and etc. And Keisha is very promiscuous, you're going to be like, well, why is Keisha telling you all this stuff? And, I want to know, how do you feel that Keisha is doing this? Why does she feel comfortable in telling you this stuff? So you know who to trust your man around. You know who to not trust your man around. Because, baby, it could be the family. It could be the best friend. It could be the sister. It could be the mama. So it's communication and trust. But I say, I would rather for you to leave me than to cheat on me. Or I'd rather for you to tell me, babe, I cheated because of this. Or this is why I cheated. Because when I find out you cheated, I'm going to ask you why. Because not only you can have some type of psychological issues or just don't have common sense, but cheating is abuse. So now I'm looking at myself like, well, damn, my self-esteem is going down. Like, why did he cheat? Am I not sexy enough? Did I not do this? Why is it? Because, you don't know. Cheating can really affect women. I'm going to speak on women's point of view. It can affect us as women. We're self-conscious. Then we're doing all of these things to, well, he's attracted to this person. Well, let me go do this because she got it. So why not let me do it? It can mentally mess you up. And it goes down a whole list of things, and then as kids, if you see your father with all these different type of women, I know my dad, he's deceased now, but my dad would bring his kids around different women and tell us not to say anything. You got to be crazy if I'm not telling my mother that, oh, mom, daddy was with such and such and such. Like, I think that's a sign of disrespect. And you shouldn't condone it. But my grandfather was a cheater. He was a womanizer, so sometimes it can be learned behavior because that's all they know. My dad did it. I know my ex, his dad would want to bring people over to my house. I'm like, hold up. How do your stepmom feel about this? No. I don't want no part of it. I don't condone it, I'm not going to go and run and tell your mom that, oh, he was over here with it, but I don't want no parts of that. I don't condone it. So when you condone it, ladies, if you out with your girlfriend that is very married, happily married, and she out here with a whole nother man on his boat and etc. and living it up as if she's not married, you're condoning that behavior. And as a woman, you would, and I'm not saying that you're not a woman. Let me take that back. At me, myself, I would say, sis, that don't look good. And you're putting me in a situation, you know?
Do you
So
think that condoning cheating is just as bad as cheating?
yes, I do. But it also depends on who, you know, there's some people like, look, that's your problem, not mine. She ain't cheating on me, or etc. But if I'm your friend, you know, and I love you as my friend and you're my family, your husband is my friend and my family. Your children are my friend and my family, and I love them. So I will know what this would do to the family, you know, as I'm condoning this. I had some part in this. Ladies, don't lie. If you married, don't use me as an alibi and say I was with Lex. Because one, I don't know how to lie. Two, I can't keep up with my lies. So I ain't your homegirl for it, you know. But again, it also, you know, women, we go and tell our friends how the relationship is, or I know he cheating, or etc. And it's like, well, shit, if you disrespecting the relationship, it ain't none of my business on what you do out here. So you also got to keep in mind how you talking to people about your relationships, because they won't respect it if you don't respect it.
Exactly. I think that came from a place, Lexi. What you think?
I didn't even know. Y'all recording this?
I literally, like, if there was some way to pass a collection plate around, but
That's the whole word.
So look, so I wanna I'm all out of frame now because we got these little skinny boxes. I want to touch a couple of comments, but then I want to talk about a couple of things personally. We can piggyback off of that, and then I don't know, y'all, it might be past y'all bedtime, but I got some time. We got to touch a couple more topics. There's no way I'm reading all of this. Spin City says the person shouldn't wait or ask the person to leave. Do it because you want to leave, not the external factor. We know deep down what doesn't feel right. Exactly. Michelle Ford, the Titan from Periscope says people cheat because they start conversation with someone knowing they are taken. So yeah, there's context around that, but absolutely. Michelle Ford said yes, and women can be just as scandalous. You'd be amazed at the women that actually target and go after married, committed men, and sometimes it's women you don't suspect.
Because they know weak. Y'all are weak.
Absolutely. Maya Avery says we stop respecting the foundation of marriage and commitment. Crystal Johnson People says that's right, girl. She would turn and do the same thing to you. So I want to touch on a couple things and maybe going back, prior to the sermon. I'm messing with you. So this is something that what I'm about to talk about is something that we talk about, whether it's just generally breaking up with people, but in this context of cheating, we always talk about, why don't they just tell me? Why don't they just leave? If they feel like they need to do this, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just man up or woman up and just say, hey, I don't want to be here? And I want to, and we can ask the question, why, till we blue in the face, right? Mm-hmm. But the context behind that is based in human behavior. Meaning a vast majority of us do this, possibly sometimes without even realizing it, but we compartmentalize things in our relationship. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the cheater who, and I'll just use my early example, who's cheating because he's not, or she is not being affirmed, or maybe the communication is broken down and you don't feel like home is peaceful. When you go out, that doesn't mean that you have a partner to take the kids to the football game that you're sharing bills with, and you got a nice home, and y'all are good business partners, and y'all are, you have fun when you go to the restaurant. They're going out for that specific reason, and they're compartmentalizing all the other great stuff about you, and they're saying that's not a part of that. Yeah, I'm messed up for doing this, but I'm not losing no. It's dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional as hell. But a lot of us humans do this, especially people who cheat. And you say, well, if they wanted to cheat, they should have just told me, and they should have just left. That doesn't happen because that person knows when they leave, they lose all of it. So then they have to be the dysfunctional, I'm gonna hide it, because if I say it to you, then I have to lose. I don't know if I could, I don't even know the ratio, that whole 80-20 thing. It's people don't want to lose all of that.
Well, how long do you take this abuse? How long do you keep getting punched in the stomach?
No, but listen, if the thing that the person, and this is not, again, disclaimer, I am not condoning it. I am just talking about human behavior. When the person has a need that is greater than you feeling the punch in the stomach in their mind, they're not thinking about that. They're fulfilling that dysfunctional thing that they're missing. And that, like, let's say, for an example, 90% of my being, I am an empathetic, communicating fool. And you're the person that I'm with, and I love you to death, but you hate communicating. That communication need is bigger than you hurting.
And the other thing is, I did not, when I cheated on you, it was never my intention for you to know about it. You're not supposed to know that I did this. I never set out to cheat and get caught. As a matter of fact, I convinced myself that I wouldn't get caught, on not knowing that, or not accepting that what's done in the dark is always going to come to light. And the reason behind that is because I'm going to get comfortable. I agree with you 100%, Derek. I think that there are a lot of people out there who, I've heard men say when they got caught cheating, I don't care. We hear it all the time. I don't care about her. She means nothing to me. I love you. And I don't think they're lying. I think that when it comes to the mother of my children, my business partner, my best friend, you are that. But there's this 20% or this 10% that you're not fulfilling. And I don't want to risk losing all of you just because I can't get you to do that one thing that I need, whether it's talking or sex or affirmation or whatever it is. I went out and I found a surrogate. I just did so without your permission and without your knowledge. And so here's the thing. I've even talked to women, and I say women, but people who there was an improvement. That was one of the things that caused them to wonder if something was going on, because there was a vast improvement in the relationship. That person stopped asking for sex, or that person stopped asking or stopped, behaving in certain ways, because that need that caused all of the tension, that caused all of the whatever, was being fulfilled by someone else. And so now when I come home, I don't have to sit in the parking lot for an hour. I don't have to, prepare myself for this fight that's going to happen because of this thing that's just sitting there, that need that's not being met, because I already got it met. So now I can relax and I can just focus on the 80% that you provide me.
So do the consequences not bother people? Consequences. Every action is always a reaction, or it's everything that you do is always a consequence, whether it's and you can lose your best friend, which will be bigger to where you lose your best friend, you lose your financial person. So everything just start crumbling down, So it's like, do that not, I don't know. I'm not a glut for punishment.
It never occurred to the cheater that I would get caught. And I think that the whole, all of the stuff that's involved in hiding the other person is proof that it was never my intention to get caught. That's why her name is saved under dominoes in my phone. That's why, I mean, that's what I heard. That's why my phone is face down. That I go out of my way.
Domino's always calling you. You always hungry.
I'm that. I'm going out of my way to hide this thing that I'm doing, because on some twisted, really demented level, I don't want to hurt you. I also don't want to lose you, but I don't know how to communicate to you how important this thing that you're not doing is to me.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing, and I hope that some of the men can amen this. It's not always about sex.
No.
A lot of times when men cheat, and I won't say women, because I don't know what motivates a woman. I do know what motivates some men. A lot of times it's not even about the sex. The sex is just a natural progression of the closeness that I create with this other person. A lot of times it's just the affirmation. It's just seeing me as more than just a provider, seeing me as more than just a father, seeing me as more than just the guy that, that writes the checks or that takes out the trash or whatever the case may be. It's that, oh, you smell good, or, oh, whatever. You see me as a man. And when we get into long,
feel like insecurity.
No, I don't think it's insecurities. I think it happens to women too. I think sometimes when we get into long-term relationships, we start seeing our partners only as our partners. We forget that this is someone that we pursued. This is someone that gave us butterflies. This is someone we used to text and stalk their Facebook page, and you know what I mean? This is a whole person. And at some point when the relationships, especially in long-term relationships, you stop being Tony and you start being my husband or the father of my children, or all of these other pronouns, and all I want to be is me. And so when the lady at work or the lady at Starbucks or whoever sees me as me without all the other stuff, because she does not have that burden, and that's the other thing about, and I hope we touch upon it because I got time. You can't leave the person that you love to be with the person you cheated on. You can, but you're going to be really disappointed when you realize that all they had to give was that part that was missing. They can't do anything else, especially not the way your wife did it, especially not the way your husband did it. But I think we owe it to each other to see each other as people and not allow the pronouns that we have, those other roles that we play, to eclipse the real person inside. Not a justification, but it is a reason.
Yeah, and also just to piggyback on that, it's like you really have to look at in relationship talk, dating talk, communication, right? Not just do we get along, but it's who you are when it's rough, who you are when you see that person is down. And I did a show about this a long time ago. Don't let your schedules define your relationship, and we get caught in the schedules and in the non-communication stuff that we have to do. It's cook dinner, take the kid to the football game, go to sleep, rinse and repeat. And the whole time, because we have not established a safe place to share and communicate, because a lot of us are horrible communicators, but we're in relationships, right? Because it feels good. And we got a kid, or we look cute and we taking pictures on Instagram. But are you talking about how that person feels when they on the computer for 8 hours and they on, designing graphics? And are you okay? Do you need to take some time? When you don't have a relationship where you have that open forum, now you open up the doors for that person to keep it in. And as humans, we have to purge it. And that purging may be alcohol. That purging may be I'm going to happy hour every Friday because I want to feel like I still got it. That purging may be I'm going to have a phone conversation with somebody because at home, that's not my communication place. That's my do what I got to do and go to sleep place.
If you're not happy,
listen, here's the context. Some people, it's not about being happy. It's about the stability. Sometimes it's about we built this thing together and I don't know how to tell you I'm happy. And if I leave, I'm going to lose the 80, the 90 that this, all of this fits, right? Once again, disclaimer, I'm not condoning it. I'm just telling you how humans think because I know it's coming. When you do not, because first of all, this is a person you love. Right? Y'all always, this is my best friend. The best friend part of the relationship, I would say over the past few years has taken a whole new meaning to me, because I used to be like, if we love each other, we started out with friendship. We don't need that. We in love.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why the friendship part is important is because your friend, your person that's your friend, you don't have the barriers. You can just talk. But we don't have that. We get into a relationship and we don't have a basis of open communication.
Mm-hmm.
We have a basis of placating and making you feel good,
mm-hmm.
so that we don't have to worry about the rough patches, even though the rough patches come anyway. And when they do, you don't have a baseline of safe spaces to communicate. Well, dang, I did yell at him and I called him the B word, and he's a man, but he'll get over it. Yeah, that was a jab.
Okay.
So that's an inside joke. Go ahead, Tony.
Lexi, because, you know, I used to be of the Just Leave tribe too, but at some point, you know, and again, if it came down to either cheat on me or leave me, I'd rather you disappoint me than break my heart, right? But when does just leaving become more of a problem than cheating itself? And bear with me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you're unhappy and your response to your unhappiness is to leave,
mm-hmm.
then to me, the foundation of what a relationship is about is missing, because now I feel like I got to walk on eggshells and I'm not allowed to have these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in a great relationship, to me, a great relationship is not one that doesn't have conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that we've figured out how to deal with conflict.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we know that leaving is not an option. So I was in a relationship where that was constantly being brought up. Well, then, you know, you can leave. Well, then I'm gonna leave. You know, so it was a tool that was being used almost like a chip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a card that was being played, a trump card that was being played, and so that constant fear that
mm-hmm.
shut down the conversation even more so than anything else, because it's like, well, if I say something, then she's gonna leave me.
Leave, right? I'm
gonna start lying.
I'm not saying that if they cheat, just leave, because I mean, I've been cheated on and I didn't just leave, you know. I'm saying if this continues to be a problem, if you continue to be, that's just all you do is cheat. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I've stayed in a relationship for a very long time. He cheated twice actually. Cheated twice, and then it just got to the point where it became a habit, you know. And I'm like, you know what? You don't love me. You know, you can't love me because you see how it does me. Now, when I finally did leave, it hurts like hell, to where I'm like, all right, should I pick up this phone and get back? You know, he's calling. I know I can get back in it, but then who's to say it's going to be nice for 6 months, and then the next 6 months he done lied and cheated again, you know? So I'm not saying as soon as they cheat, just roll out. No, you cheated. Let's talk about this, so where we don't make this a habit and it's continue, because I will say I'm not the easiest person to deal with, you know, and I know this, you know, so there may be some things that you kind of like dealt with. You don't like it, but you dealt with it because you just know that's just me, right? But no, I don't want you to just deal with me. If I upset you, or if you don't like this type of behavior and it leads you to do whatever that you do, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation so it won't happen again. You know, so when I'm saying just leave, I'm saying this to the ones if it continues to be a problem. Like we said about Cardi. Okay, she said you did it once. All right, don't do it again. He did it again, less than 6 months. And, you know, so she rolled out. So it's very hard. The aftermath of just leaving, it's hard, because not only did you ruin our relationship, but what about the people that loved us both? Yeah. You know? So now it's like, and God forbid the kids or the stepchildren, you know, they're like, well, damn, what did I do? Well, I ain't gonna see Tony anymore because they're not together anymore. So it's not only are you messing up our relationship, but you're hurting a whole list of people. So I take it in consideration. I take it in consideration when I say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. But I also don't stay because of the kids. You know, that's another thing. And I'm sure that could be a whole nother story. I'm not going to continue to suffer and be unhappy because of the kids. However, I will try to make it work before I say, you know what, babes, I had to leave dad because it just was not making me happy, and I was not being the best mother for you. Because you don't want to condone these type of relationships because these children grow up and they mimic, you know. So when I finally left, my son is like, I'm so glad you left, you know. And he said this as a man, you know. He grew up as a child and he see it, and then he saw it as a man. He's like, okay, well, I see how mommy crying when he do this. Do I want my girlfriend to be doing the same thing? I don't want to hurt. I see how hurt my mother was as a human. If you do care or have a niche of compassion, you know it's not right. So, you know, I said, what if somebody did this to your daughter? You'll be ready to load up the truck and the gun because you hurt my daughter, you know? So you just got to take it in consideration. But I'm not saying that it is easy to leave. It's not. And I'm not just saying to just step out the door as soon as a problem kind of hit. Because I agree, Tony, if I say, well, if you don't like it, we'll just leave, and you keep shutting, that's a form of shutting me down. You know, when I'm trying to express myself. So,
yeah. But I do agree that being cheated on hurts you. It's like, I'm mad at you the first time, but then the second time I'm mad at me because I get it.
So real quick, couple comments. Somebody quoted you, Lex. I'm not the easiest person to deal with. Spin City says some people stay because victimhood is comfortable and they may not know it, like an old dirty blanket that keeps you warm. I always call that sticking with the devil, you know. Michelle Force says, in addition to being able to communicate your feelings, you have to also be open and mature enough to hear the things being communicated to you, even if it is the things that you don't want to hear. So pause. Yeah. We're gonna pause that. I'm gonna come back to that real quick because that's going to segue into the next topic. Christina says cheating is also a form of something you're lacking within. Doesn't have to be the person you're with that's lacking something. At the end of the day, we know leaving is not an option. Cheating is an insecurity, from Christina. Maya Avery says being transparent and open, we stop trusting each other with our heart. Maya Avery also says questions that she asks is, what's your flaws? Where do you like when you're angry? How do you resolve conflict? Are you happy? How do you know you're happy? Who taught you how to love? So look, so there's two. So let's do two things. So this one right here.
Part two, Derek.
We got to do a part two, right?
Do a part two.
So what Maya alluded to with the questions, this is something that I champion like nothing else. Stop being afraid to ask this stuff early. Stop. And the reason why you have to do it is because you need to, and I've probably said this over at least 15 shows, you got to establish a baseline. If your word is your bond, your answers to these questions is your bond. If you deviate from these questions, now I can call you a liar and I have the right to leave on the spot because you did not tell the truth early. If you do not ask these questions, then they can do whatever they can do by omission. You don't have to sit them up under a lamp and interrogate them, but you can get these answers. And if you are the person that says, well, I don't want to ask all those questions because I'm going to scare them away, it's the wrong person.
You have Maya on here.
It's the wrong person. I talk about, if they're afraid of those questions, they're not ready for you.
Exactly.
I talk about this. Not only should you ask those questions, stop asking questions that don't have value. Who cares what your favorite color is? How do you deal with conflict? Have you ever hit someone? You know what I mean? Those are the questions that you should be asking. And like you said, if the person either A, I don't feel comfortable asking those questions, then why are you on a date with this person? or
Right.
B, I don't feel comfortable answering these questions, then okay, we can stop this right here. Or we can define this as just a casual thing. Because my requirements going forward is that I get to know you. And here's the thing, I can answer the questions any way I want, but I'm making a mental note that you said I don't like to argue. But we just spent 45 minutes arguing about whether or not I should eat my steak rare or well done. So that's not consistent with what you say, because people will show you who they are before they tell you. So those questions are very important. I love that. And I wish more people ask those kind of questions, especially in the dating process, because we can avoid all this. And the other thing is, believe them. When someone says, hey, look, I'm not for everybody. Oh, I can handle it. Maybe you can. Maybe you cannot. Maybe you've been warned. And you know what? You have no one to blame but yourself.
And also, the second topic from Michelle, Alicia says, LMAO at the favorite color, right? We're in our 30s and 40s.
Right.
Like, what kind of conversation? What kind of conversation are we really having at 40 something? We talking about, what kind of shoes you? Hey, come on, stop. And I always tell people. Hey, when you get to this age, we got things to lose. I need to know some things up front. And if you 45 and you can't answer those questions, I don't know. Why are we still talking? Because you cute? No. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, and we're going to segue into the next. And we getting a little overtime. We might have to do a part 2 on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I'm gonna reread Michelle's, and then I want to give it some context, and then I want you guys to chime in. In addition to being able to communicate your feelings, you have to also be open and mature enough to hear the things being communicated to you, even if it's the things that you don't want to hear. So, and Michelle talks about this all the time because I watch her lives too. Sometimes when we hear things that may be true, but we don't like them, we react to them in a negative way. When you react to them in a negative way, the person that is giving you the honest information tends to retreat when it's time to do it again. And that builds a pattern of behavior that can sometimes lead to them seeking that comfort somewhere else, because they first came to the person, men or women, because I know the people, I know y'all, men and women do it. When you do not provide a safe place for that open communication, they're either going to let it fester and it's going to blow up later, or they're going to find somewhere else to purge it. And so you have to be able to hear negative things about yourself sometimes and know that it's coming from the person that loves you. I always talk about it like this. This is a little weak analogy that I always give. You know, the person you may be around them and they're your friend and y'all cool, but they stink. And you say, you need some deodorant. And then they get pissed off because you told them they stink. It's kind of like that. Now you mad and you pissed off that the person told you that. So now you might not hang out with that person because you mad that they told you that you stink. And you pissed off at them instead of receiving the information and saying, thank you. And now I know what I need to do. You're going to harbor that emotion because how dare you tell me that I stink? And it's like, no, I'm telling you because I love you. I don't want you to be out here looking crazy. But in the home with the person that's supposed to be your friend and your wife or your husband or your boyfriend, whatever, that's the person that you're supposed to be able to take that constructive criticism from.
Exactly.
Have a conversation about it, good or bad, and come out of it still happy. We still together. I didn't like that. I didn't want to hear that about myself, but thank you, baby.
It's so embarrassing, but thank you for telling me.
Yeah. And it's
somebody else say it and you know it, and I'm gonna be like, well, why you ain't tell me? So
and what we do is we go out and we hang out with our friends and we tell them all the stuff, right? Because we didn't have I've been saying this the whole show. There was no safe space in the place that you're supposed to feel safest. So you got to think about it in context. No one is condoning cheating, but if I don't feel safe, that's like being in jail.
Mm-hmm.
You start to hate it there because you can't talk, you can't share, and you look at this person like I can't live without you, but I can't give you the deepest parts of me because you keep pushing me away. Why? How am I going to talk? You know what? Matter of fact, we good. That's the argument. Okay, I'm good. Are we good? Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and Friday. I'm gonna hang out with the fellas because we got we got to catch up. My friends from elementary school. Yeah, I saw them on Facebook.
Some Dominoes.
Yeah, and that's how that's just a small example of how it starts. And when you go hang out with those friends, you're gonna be like, yeah, my wife underarms be stinking like a mug. And I tried to tell her, but she didn't want to listen. So I guess she just gonna be out. And you like, and then one day you as the wife might hear that from somebody and be like, why the hell is he why is he telling my business out there? He tried to tell you.
This is something that I struggle with. Taking that constructive criticism, and it's because I'm such a big, and it's something that I'm trying to change about myself. I'm so big on delivery, and I'm one of those people where I've probably been one of those people that would have told Paul Revere, "Hey, look, I don't care who coming, you need to keep it down. I'm asleep, bro. You don't just come yelling through the streets, screaming, and all this other stuff." And sometimes I don't look at the context or even the content that is being shared. I'm focused on the delivery. I don't like the way you said it, so now I can't hear what you said, even though everything you said was true. You're right. I am like that. I can be that way. I am very what you are making factual assessments of my character, of my behavior, my personality. I just don't like the way you said it. And so I have to self-check myself, and say, okay, let's get beyond the delivery and focus on the message. Because here's the other part that I feel I'm responsible for is if I want the delivery to be a certain way, then I need to facilitate opportunities to get the information in a peaceful moment. I was in the military. There's never been a peace treaty that was signed. We don't talk about how we're going to go to war in the war. We talk about how we're going to fight the war when we're in peace, right? So with our allies, we sit down and draft these documents to say, okay, if we ever go to war together, this is how we're going to fight. These are the rules of engagement. We don't do that in the middle of a war. And so sometimes the truth about yourself comes out in the relationship during an argument. And that's not a time you really want to hear it. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up, is that you really want to find out about who you are, get into a relationship. Because all these things you think about yourself will be revealed as
the stuff and
like I'll be transparent. I can be very sarcastic, when I want to be. I'm one of those people. I'm quick with the tongue. You don't want to get into a verbal confrontation with me because I have something sitting there waiting to go, and I don't care about how it's going to make you feel. I'm going for the jugular. I see that you are very self-conscious about this one thing. I see you trying to hide it. That's what I'm going after. And it's gotten me into a lot of trouble, especially as a young man, because, I play upon people's insecurities in order to win. It was brought to my attention that that's the way I am with someone that I really care about and in a relationship with. And rather than saying, you know what, you're right, I can be that way, and I'm sorry, and I'll try my best not to be that way with you. Instead, my response was, how can you tell what I'm saying when one of your ears is not even as big as the other? And I knew this was an issue. But I just wasn't in a space where I was willing to get that criticism because we were in the middle of that argument. So now what I try my best to do, and again, I'm not good at it, I'm trying, is during those times of peace, coming and saying, hey, what are some of the things about me that maybe, rub you the wrong way? Or what are some behaviors that you wish I was, I didn't engage in? And it's easier for me to hear it because we're not at war with one another.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
if we're arguing, don't tell me about myself. I ain't trying to hear all that.
Yeah, and you know, and I have to say I'm guilty of what I'm about to say too. Just on the I'm gonna jump on this real quick, and maybe we'll touch on one small topic before we start wrapping it up. And like I said, we'll do a part 2. This is good, guys. When you argue, this is something that I'm guilty of, and I know a lot of people are. And you know what I mean when I say this. When somebody's arguing with you, we're supposed to, or we're having a whatever the tension is, and one person has a grievance, and you're, as a person that loves that person, you're supposed to hear them, to listen. You know, you're supposed to communicate, to listen, and not to react. And I tend to sometimes react because I'm going to find where you did something similar, and then I'm going, all lives matter you. All lives matter you. I'm gonna be like, hey, you did that too, so you can't be mad at me because and I'm like, and it's not fair because now I negate how you feel in that one moment, and I'm always trying to find the middle ground so that you don't keep coming at me. So I'm like, if you do it, then the aggression you got to stop because you did the same thing, and now I ineffectively shut down how you felt. The communication. Now you either gonna come at me with a even more of a fervor, or you're gonna be like, you know what? All right, we done. Go bye. Have a good day. I'll see you in the morning. Go sleep on the couch.
Yep, that's me. I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I shut down.
And we have to get to a point where we establish that foundation of communication and how we're going, like Tony said, how we engage each other. It's a problem. I'm a communicator. So and Alicia can back me up. Some people need time. I want to go right now. Let's do now. Talk now. Let's get it done now. I have to respect that you need a minute to come so we can be not coming at each other angry. We're coming at each other when we
take it in first.
Yeah. So when we start to respect those boundaries, now I feel more comfortable communicating with you and sharing with you, and we become closer because of that. Now those external factors don't start to look as sexy to me because this is that amount of closeness that we have now because you're letting me get it off and I'm purging it all with the person I love. Outside, I'm like, I'm good. I know I look good in this suit. Thank you. We good. I'm out. I got to go home. Now, because now all of that stuff you needed, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. But those little, it normally starts off with little stuff. It starts off like this, and then you keep hiding it, and you keep holding it back because you can't, because the person, and next thing you know, now that person becomes the embodiment of you, of resentment. Remember 3-4 weeks ago, you made me feel like crap when your voice got raised. I ain't say nothing back then, but you waited 4 weeks to talk about it. That's what we do because we don't want to confront, especially men. We be like, you got it. We shut it because a lot of us don't even share anyway. So now when we fighting, at a certain point, I'm gonna be like, you got it. When I say you got it, that's me admitting to you that I'm refusing to share. And then the other person says, okay, if it's done, it's done. Cool. Then you go to sleep and wake up and be like, hey, baby, how you doing? Guess what? The pain's still there. It didn't go anywhere. And when we keep that there, it has to be purged. It has to be purged.
Yeah, you got it is the male equivalent to the female. It's okay. It's fine. No, it's fine. Okay. It's fine.
Okay.
No. We're good. Trust.
That's when you know something ain't right.
We're not good, and don't trust that. Abort. It is not okay.
So what I'm gonna do one more thing, and then we're gonna get off of here. And this is a one small portion of Tony's book. Is there a way for you to prevent a cheater? Like, you know how people always say, well, if I would have, cocked my leg up this way, then he would have stayed. Or if I would have cooked him more meals. Is there a way to prevent someone from cheating? Like, is there a recipe for that? Lexi?
No, I don't think so.
Tony?
No. I don't. If somebody wants to cheat on you, you can cook gourmet meals. You can clean.
You can be the best in the bedroom, do whatever I desire, but
there are men who cheat on their wives after having sex with them. So I think that it is very important when we discuss the reasons people cheat. I think it's very important that we make it clear, or at least I'll say this. I think it's very important that I make it clear that cheating is a behavior that is a result of desire for the person who cheated. It serves no purpose for the person who was cheated on to own any part of that behavior. You can't prevent it. You can't cause it. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. And owning it only provides a path for it to happen again. Because now, if you own this concept that, well, if I would have done this, he wouldn't have cheated, or if he says, well, if you would have sex with me more, then I wouldn't cheat. Now you're having sex all the time, even though you may not want to, and he still cheats. Or God forbid you don't feel well, or you have a headache, or you just don't want to do it. Now their motivation for your action is out of prevention when you can't prevent it if you try. Mm-hmm. And going back to what Lexi said, it starts to mess with your mind. Being cheated on is a very damaging thing, because I think it's natural for men too. What is it that he had that I didn't? Because I think we all believe that if you cheat on me, it's because you wanted something from someone that I didn't have. Mm-hmm. And this is probably for another show, but it really hurts because most people don't cheat up. Most people will cheat down.
Especially the men.
Especially men. Yeah. No, that's true. You know why? Because it's easier to cheat with someone who lacks the value in themselves. It's easier for them to cheat with you. It's hard to get someone who sees value in themselves to engage in behavior that they know is wrong and deceptive. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get a woman of great value. And when I say value, I mean her own self-image. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about her value, whatever, mm-hmm. to cheat, because she's thinking, no, I want a whole man, not half of one.
Yeah, and just the context that, and then we're gonna and then I have one final question to ask everybody, but just to give a little bit of context to that, and Tasha on Facebook says, I think Lorena Bobbitt has the answer to how you can prevent a cheater.
Don't even joke like that.
Alicia says Cardi B proved that answer is no.
Yep.
Christina Simmons says no, there isn't, because again, cheating comes from within. So my thing about that one topic, and then I'm gonna ask the final question. When you feel like you have to kind of build this thing where you feel like if I do A, B, C, and D, it's going to be automatically prevent someone from cheating. I want to segue into the question: is there possible redemption for someone who cheats? Lex.
Don't do it again.
No. Is it possible for someone who has cheated to be reformed? Because the sentiment is, if you do it one time, you are condemned for the rest of your life to be a cheater, and that's who you are.
I mean, I think they can stop. Because, there are some people that cheated once and never did it again. Mm-hmm. Just never did it again. And then you have the habitual cheaters. So, mm-hmm. I feel that you can be reformed. Ladies, beat me up. Oh, God.
I think that there has to be consequences. If there are no consequences, there's no motivation for change. And I also think that sometimes a cheater, I don't believe that once a cheat, always a cheat. I think that if you want to reform and atone, you can, but it may require you to be in a different relationship. I think that you can never cheat, never again be a cheater with someone else. Because here's the thing about trying to reestablish a relationship after cheating. It's very hard to build trust. You know, I liken it to breaking a vase. You know, when you have a vase that's unbroken, brand new, it holds water well, you know, it's what it's designed to do is hold water. But when you break it, even if you put the pieces back together, it's never going to be intact and hold water like it once did. And so if you want to hold on to it, what some people have to do, instead of using it as a vase, they have to repurpose it as something else. And I think in relationships, it's the same way. I can never trust you as my wife again. We can be friends, or, you know, we can co-parent, or we can, you know, whatever, but I can't give you that part anymore. You can't serve that purpose in my life anymore. And so it may be where you can learn your lessons with and use them with someone else. There's this old saying, you can make the man or you can take the man, but you can't take the man you make. So
right.
I don't know.
And so my context, and I'm gonna read a couple of these comments because they kind of segue into what I was going to say about this. Maureen Mays from Facebook says, you have to deal with the root to why it was done in the first place. Blunt Tina says, yes, reforming new relationships. I'm gonna get to Michelle. I'm gonna get a couple, and then I'm gonna get to Michelle last because hers is important to what I'm about to say. Christina says, yes, if they heal themselves. Maya Avery says, I have a whole story about my cheating reformation. Michelle Ford says, I don't think everyone that cheats is a cheater. I know that sounds crazy, but I understand what you're saying.
It makes a lot of sense.
Right. So this is what what Michelle is saying is someone that cheats isn't condemned to having that label on them if they do the work that it takes to understand the why, right? I always say everything we do in life has an origin story, right? Even with a cheater. And so the cheater, there are some people who have things with, because at the top of the show, I said cheating is broken behavior. There's a reason why you're doing it. And sometimes it's not just because you want to have sex. There's something in you that needs to have that constant dopamine high outside of your relation, whatever it is, right? Whatever, there's a multitude of reasons why. You as the cheater who wants to be able to move forward and maybe not do that behavior again, you have to understand the why. And sometimes understanding the why may not be something you can figure out on your own. You may have to go to therapy. You may have to really look at your life and how you've been moving to understand it. Once you understand the origin, you tackle that, you figure out what that is and the why and how to, whatever it is. If you can handle that thing, then the path to being reformed is right in front of you. But if you don't handle it, it's always going to be in there. Something's going to trigger it. It's just like anything else with mental health. It's a decision. Well, you're making a decision because there's something in you that's broken, that needs it. Whether it's like some people, like there's a lot of people out here that you know, they need to have sex 35 times a day. But at the end of the day, there's a driving force that makes you feel like you have to do it all over the place. And that could be it's, you know, granted, there's some people out here that just say this is who I am and I'm whatever. But a lot of people, this behavior is something that you need to reaffirm something within yourself to make you feel better, especially like with, and I say this hesitantly because when I said this on another show that came for me, sometimes men, we're conditioned growing up as boys to be predators. And we get a lot of positive affirmation from being a predator.
Yes.
And it becomes a part of who we are. And then we end up having to be somebody's man. And you got to turn it off. And then on the other show, they was like, oh, you're making an excuse. No. I'm telling you, this is what we've been trained to be. you don't. That's not the definition of who you are as a man. But when you're growing, a lot of us, and not all of us, because we're in 2020, whatever you like, you like. But a lot of us, when we made those conquests, we got a pat on the back. Made you feel good. Yeah, we went to the mall, guys. How many numbers did you get? Women too, not just men. And that feel good feeling, you got to have more to make you feel good. You got to keep going. Oh my gosh, I met somebody. She's really fine, and we look good going to Fridays and doing the movies. It feel good. I'm a boyfriend now. You didn't take that thing.
Nope,
it's not gone. You didn't resolve that. You didn't say, you know what, this ain't really leading to a happy place for me. I need to stop this. It's still there, and that's a little piece. And people, they call it giving an excuse. But there are things, could be some things from your childhood, could be some things from your family. You could just be an asshole. There's a whole lot of reasons why you may do this behavior, but it's not just a monolith. It's not just one. It can't just be one thing because we're all not exactly identical the same.
Right.
And when you look at it in context, you have to say, how do I then make myself and put myself in a position where this behavior sticks out like a sore thumb to me. But this behavior, I'm not perfect. I may end up with somebody that cheats, but how do I ask the questions? How do I, in the beginning, how do I notice the changes in behavior? You got to love you first. You have to be in command of how you're going to react to these things and stop going all in before all in is necessary. You got to do your due diligence. Is it going to be a perfect thing? No. But like I said earlier, if your word is your bond, and I ask you the pertinent questions, and you give me your honest answer, when you deviate from your honest answer, you are now by definition a liar. And if you are a person that doesn't deal with liars, and I'm talking about the important questions, I'm not talking about what's your favorite color. Right? Things that you need to have, you have to walk away because you love yourself more. That's number one. Once you're already in it and the feels is already there, I love him and I don't understand why he's doing this. Realistically, he may or she may not even understand why they do it. It may be a pattern of behavior. You may go back 2 or 3 people and it's the same thing.
Same thing.
They may legitimately have a problem, right? They may legitimately have some behavior that has been unresolved. And you have to say to yourself, can I love him through the redemption or lack of redemption? You got to make that decision. If you make the decision to stay, then now you have to now say, okay, I'm going to stay. However, this is the consequence. These are the consequences. And this is what I need to see. Do you plan to do these things? Now you once again have established yet another baseline. They have to do that or else consequence happens.
Yep.
If you don't do that, then this person who may or may not change, once again, you got to know the why. Well, you know what? I did start talking to this person because I was feeling like I couldn't talk to you. Ding, ding, ding. Now we can talk about, okay, let's talk about that. But if you don't know, there's no redemption from you don't even know what why you did it. So how can we even have that discussion? And you have to be strong enough to say, I cannot deal with somebody who's not even willing to take the time to even figure it out with me. Yep. And a lot of people still stay because they love him or her more than they love themselves.
They just don't want to be alone.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a couple of, go ahead. You got something to say, Tony?
No, I was going to say, but being alone is exactly what they probably need.
Yeah. I'm going to read a couple comments and then we're going to wrap it up because we going on 2 hours and we're going to have to come back because I try to make sure that I in my head pick folks to come on that fit, and I think we fit tonight. I think we got some good chemistry here, and I think the people in the comments, the fourth man as I call it, that y'all are getting it in tonight. Let me see. Maya Avery, conditioned as a young boy to conquer women and girls. Alicia says booked and phone boning all night with multiple people, call waiting back and forth. Yeah, like y'all know, men and women both. People was scandalous. Like you be having all it, and it was like you got a trophy for it.
Yeah.
You got a trophy for being highly dysfunctional and lying.
They condone it.
You
People
got
condone
kudos for it.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is, when you grow into an adult, the same rules don't apply, but you're still playing the same game. You can't. Let me take that back. You're not supposed to be able to get away with it, but it happens.
But if you keep those same childhood friends,
yeah, that
the
too.
expectations don't change either.
That too. Change your environment, change the behavior. A lot of times we hang around those same people doing that stuff, and it's like you're naturally going to be who you're around. That's a life lesson. Yeah. Hold on. Woo. Maya says our behavioral patterns are environmentally stimulated. Absolutely. Yep. And that is something that a lot of us take for granted. And a lot of us don't even realize it's a part of our reward system. Mm-hmm. Like we go through life, we have kids, we get married, we get divorced, we're in relationships, and we don't even realize that sometimes there's a part of us that needs to feel like we felt when we was 18. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you know what? I got 1, but I need 4, because if I don't have 4, I'm not going to feel like that again. And I need to chase that high. If you still living like that, you got to be honest with yourself. When that woman asked that question up front, is there anybody that thinks that they man right now? We on date number 1, but and you say, nah, do you still living? You still living that?
Excellent question.
Right? I like that question.
I love it.
And once again,
that thinks you're not single.
Yeah. And if you say no, we're establishing a baseline.
Right.
So when that chick happens to pop up, liar, because a lot of people, what they do is they'll say, well, you didn't ask. Oh, yes, the hell I did. We asked. I wasn't scared to ask you that up front. So when that person comes out, deal breaker, I didn't ask you all the deal breakers and you gave me your answers. I love me. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Mm-hmm. Doesn't happen a lot, but that's what should happen. Love you.
I love you first.
Right. It's self-love. It's self-love awareness month. Give yourself a hug tonight. Go look in the mirror and just get kind of, get the warm and tinglies up in your chest. Okay, so let me get these 6 things and we're going to get out of here. Every behavior comes from a place. Exactly, Christina. Tasha says going to hit the 2-hour mark. Yeah, we're going to hit it. But we going to barely hit it because we getting out of here. Tasha says all I need from being 18 is my size 12. Y'all should see some of the inboxes of my married male friends. Women are predators too. Yeah. Women are just as bad as men these days. Let me tell you this one little like 60-second story, right? I went out to like an establishment where they play music and people dance or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I know this happens, but it was kind of like a shock to my system. I'm sitting at the table, one of my friends, and we overhear these women talking, and they're all married. And 3 women that came out, girls' night. Next thing you know, you see these 3 dudes walk up to the table. They know these dudes, not their husband. There's a hotel. They already pre-planned that they was going to meet these men, and this was like their regular thing. And it was cool, and they all was chilling, and this was what and I'm like, this is how, the what? And I'm saying like we really, that rabbit hole goes deep. Because now you got to look at, and I'm saying women because that's what they were, but it could be males or females. When you have a relationship that's so broken that you got to go ahead and plan out a whole a group outing, and I was like, what? But it happens because people refuse to communicate. Mm-hmm. Even if that communication says, you know what, this isn't working. Communication is key. Right. Tasha said you be ear hustling. It boggled my mind.
I would be like, and look, if Alicia was, which I was like, baby, hold on, I can't hear.
Alicia says, and I bet there were cougars. Yep, they were. Christina says men and women have always been bad. Ain't nobody say women been more slick than men. I think everybody's slick these days. I don't even know what the hell's going on, but it's some stuff out here. Christina says, I don't know why people are always putting men down for shit women do 10 times worse, but society puts it only on men.
Because y'all always get caught.
That's well, that's because women cheat in the Bahamas, men cheat down the street.
We got a whole man in another country.
We don't even speak English. We're cheating with the substitute teacher at our kids' school. Yeah.
So we gonna start to wrap it up. Lexi, any parting words for our listening audience?
Oh my God, I feel like I've been preaching today.
You did.
Yeah, you did. You were on one.
No, again, we've been saying it through the whole segment. Love yourself first before you get into another relationship, before you start thinking about hurting someone else. That's all I really got to say. Is cheating is a form of abuse. If you don't like to be hurt, don't put that same behavior on someone else.
Mr. Massey, I'm gonna put your book information up here, but any closing thoughts, closing words?
I agree. Cheating is a form. I definitely, I've never used those words before, but I agree 100% that cheating is a form of abuse. You are, anytime behavior is manipulative or deceptive, then there's no different than, to me, physical abuse, because you're essentially telling someone, you're deciding someone's worth for them. Mm-hmm. And it's so much easier to just either communicate your expectations so that they can be met, or better still, know yourself enough to know that you're not ready for a relationship. And that's okay. It is perfectly okay to not get into a relationship. I hate this idea that we put this clock on people. Mm-hmm. Or if you're not married by a certain point, or if you're not in a relationship, but some people are just not built for relationships. Mm-hmm. So there is a certain level of maturity you have to get to before you get married. And that maturity, that's what's going to keep you from feeling the need to step outside your relationship. And for the people who, are trying to prevent or trying to get into a fair-proof relationship, it's not you. You can't stop someone from cheating. But what you can do is do your due diligence early on and, recognize those red flags and realize that, okay, this person has the potential to be deceptive because they're already lying. So,
and sir,
back though, explain to Lexi why it's so much worse when women cheat on men than it is for men to cheat on women. But that's for another show. Go ahead, Derek. It's your show, man.
No, it's your book. Sir, I'm gonna need you to plug your book, sir.
Yes, please go pick it up. It's on Amazon.com. Unsolicited dating advice from an unqualified source. I think it's a good book. It's an
excellent book.
It's filled with practical advice, not from an expert, but for someone who has experience. It's what I would tell my female friends, my female relatives, and when they come and ask me, what does it mean when a man does this? I'm not giving up any game. I'm not telling any man's secrets or anything like that. I'm just revealing the behavior of men, especially those men who have an agenda. Mm-hmm. Revealing pulling back the curtains and showing this is what it looks like. So
cool.
Yeah, pick it up on Amazon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why Tony didn't automatically plug his book, because when he come here, just like Lexi, we just be chilling.
Yeah,
it's like we at the picnic.
You lucky I didn't, light up a cigar. So.
Right. If you watch any of Tony's videos on TikTok, the unspoken second man on his thing is that doggone cigar.
Yeah,
that cigar is like a second person on that thing, and it fits so perfectly. So we're gonna wrap it up. So the podcast part. So guys, make sure if you see on the video side, relationshipgumbo.net, go there. I have apparel, merch like what I have on here, peace of mind over everything. I have a lot of other merch there. Always relationship and life coaching. If you want to talk to me personally, we can get that done so we can put those puzzle pieces together. And I appreciate you guys, everybody who commented and chimed in and just shared with us tonight. I appreciate you for coming. Make sure you come back. The audio from this will be up probably by tomorrow, and you can listen to it in your car all over again. You don't have to always come back and try to find the video. So there's multiple ways for you to get it. Make sure you go. If you listen to podcasts, you got about 50 episodes to binge. If you're sitting at home chilling, you want to listen to some content, it's all there. Just go to any podcasting platform and search for Relationship Gumbo, and it pops right up. So thank you guys. And this concludes the podcast portion, and we will talk to you guys next week. All right, we're off. Thank you guys. Lex, Tony, thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Love you guys. And we normally do questions afterwards, but not tonight. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in.